66 million years ago, our planet braced for an event unlike anything it had ever experienced. An impact so colossal that it would completely alter the course of Earth's evolutionary story. In those distant days, the world belonged to the dinosaurs. Towering sauropods roamed floodplains and forests. Triceratops herded through lush lowlands, and apex predators, such as Tyrannosaurus rex, asserted their dominance over sprawling territories. Every corner of the globe teemed with an astonishing diversity of life, shaped by warm climates and abundant vegetation. Yet all of this was poised on the verge of a sudden, cataclysmic shift, the likes of which no creature could foresee. Picture a grand, humid world, the air thick with primeval scents, the forests alive with vibrant calls echoing among colossal ferns and cycads, the days passing in a stable cycle set by sunlight that had remained the same for eons. Then, on what likely began as just another sunrise, a brilliant flash appeared overhead, a gleaming object cutting through the sky like a harbinger of doom. This was the asteroid, roughly 10 kilometers wide, coasting silently through space for millions of years, now finally entering Earth's gravitational pull. In those first moments, dinosaurs who happened to glance skyward would witness a blazing fireball, possibly outshining the sun itself, streaking across the heavens in an eerie demonstration of cosmic power. It must have been a spectacle unlike anything they'd encountered, but with no capacity for understanding astronomy. The animals could only react to its sudden, overwhelming presence. What transpired when that asteroid collided with our planet is almost beyond comprehension. Striking near what is now the Yucatan Peninsula, the enormous rock smashed into Earth's crust with energy estimated at 10 billion nuclear bombs. The immediate impact zone vaporized into molten rock, soil, and ash. Shockwaves raced outward through Earth's crust, shaking the bedrock and triggering massive earthquakes on multiple continents. In an almost instantaneous chain reaction, towering tsunamis formed in the prehistoric seas, each wave capable of inundating entire coastlines. Had any dinosaur vantage point existed near the ocean, the last sight might have been walls of water hurtling toward the shore with unstoppable force. On land, forests ignited almost in the same instant, as the impact spray superheated the atmosphere, turning the sky into a blazing furnace. Every living thing within thousands of kilometers of the strike zone died within seconds or minutes, consumed in a horrifying inferno. Yet the immediate devastation was only the overture to a far-reaching catastrophe. The crash hurled countless billions of tons of pulverized rock, sulfur, and ash high into the atmosphere, forming a dust layer so dense that, for more than a decade, the sun's rays were largely blocked from reaching Earth's surface. This effect, commonly likened to a nuclear winter scenario, produced a surreal twilight world. The once bright days turned dim, as if dusk had settled permanently, and nights became blacker than any living thing had ever experienced. Global temperatures sank precipitously. The Earth was plunged into a deep chill. Plants that depended on sunlight withered. Photosynthesis all but halted, leaving herbivores with no food supply. With the collapse of the base of the food chain, apex predators soon found themselves with nothing to hunt. In the once vibrant late Cretaceous ecosystems, majestic Triceratops or Stegosaurus herds perished for lack of sustenance, while large predators such as T. rex roamed barren landscapes in vain, searching for the last scraps of life. Consider that for tens of millions of years, dinosaurs thrived under relatively stable climatic conditions. The shifting of continents, the rising and falling of sea levels. These transformations were gradual, and the dinosaurs adapted over millennia. But the asteroid's arrival compressed eons of environmental change into a matter of days. Vast fires raged across continents, leaving charred wastelands in their wake. The swirling ash and dust overhead not only blocked sunlight, but caused acid rains as chemical byproducts of the impact reaction mixed with atmospheric moisture. These toxic rains seeped into soils and water systems, adding another lethal layer for organisms that had survived the first wave of destruction. Meanwhile, the ocean ecosystems fared no better. Plankton, which formed the base of the marine food web, died off en masse due to the darkened skies and abrupt chemical imbalances. Once plankton vanished, the entire marine trophic structure collapsed, claiming everything from ammonites to apex predators like mosasaurs and plesiosaurs. The seas, once so bountiful, transformed into graveyards of silent drift, in the haze of destruction. Individual stories of survival must have unfolded. Some smaller dinosaurs might have scrambled into burrows or lakes, escaping the inferno for a few days or weeks. But as the catastrophic darkness lingered, this fleeting refuge soon vanished. The improbable survivors were not the grand, imposing giants, but rather the small, resilient species. The mammals that found safe harbor in hidden nooks, and bird-like dinosaurs that had the advantage of flight, reduced body size, and feathers, traits which possibly helped them maintain body heat and scavenge sparse resources. Their capacity to adapt was critical in an environment now stripped of its usual resources, with everything from vast forests to shallow seas drastically altered. During this period of unending night, Earth's surface temperatures plummeted to extremes. More than 15 years of near-sunless gloom forced survivors to eke out an existence on minimal resources. Over time, as dust and debris gradually settled from the sky, sunlight filtered in once more. The planet was battered, but not defeated. Ecosystems began the slow march toward renewal. For each species that had vanished, new ecological niches opened for the determined living things that persisted. These small, warm-blooded creatures that endured the bleak conditions now encountered a world with ecological space to fill. And fill it they did, starting the adaptive radiations that would define the next epoch. In that sense, the same event that ended the dinosaurs' reign allowed mammals to flourish. Imagine, at the boundary between two geological ages, the KPG boundary, formerly known as the KT boundary, where geologists can still detect a thin layer of iridium-rich dust in the strata, a testament to that cosmic impact. If one could stand there in the immediate years post-impact, the environment would be unrecognizable. A smoky gloom dominated, with seeds possibly lying dormant in charred soil. Over decades, pockets of vegetation might have rebounded, feeding insects and smaller herbivores, while predatory mammals capitalized on the changing dynamics. Eons later, these inconspicuous survivors would give rise to an extraordinary variety of life forms, culminating in primates and ultimately humans. Though dinosaurs themselves largely disappeared, except for the lineage that evolved into modern birds, the ghosts of that ancient world still echo in our planet's geology and living systems. Indeed, the birds overhead trace their heritage to small, feathered dinosaurs that overcame the apocalypse. Scientists even suspect some might have had forward-looking traits like better flight capabilities and more advanced metabolic processes, making them adept at surviving the planet's post-impact gloom. Meanwhile, the giant marine reptiles that once dominated the seas simply couldn't cope with the swift transformation of ocean chemistry and the abrupt collapse of marine food chains. The disappearance of mosasaurs, plesiosaurs, and numerous others left the seas open for new, smaller species to evolve, eventually shaping modern marine life. That single asteroid strike reveals how precarious life can be. The Earth has gone through many mass extinctions, but the end Cretaceous event has captured imaginations because it is so intimately tied to the demise of the dinosaurs, and perhaps because the crater marking the site of impact, known as Chicxulub, lies just beneath the surface of the Yucatan Peninsula and adjacent Gulf of Mexico waters. Geologists studying the Chicxulub crater discovered layers of melted rock and tektites that confirmed the unthinkable energies unleashed at the moment of impact. Fossil records show a distinct dividing line. Below it, a world dominated by dinosaurs. Above it, the vestiges of their final days, punctuated by an abrupt infusion of new life forms. It is a near-instant snapshot in geological terms. One day, the late Cretaceous environment flourishes, and shortly after, it's replaced by the seeds of the Paleogene era. From a modern vantage point, one wonders how dinosaurs perceive that incoming cosmic projectile in their final hours. Perhaps some had a fleeting sense of a blazing object overhead. Others might have just kept grazing or hunting, ignoring the unusual phenomenon until shock waves rattled the ground. Some dinosaurs, especially those near the impact region, would have been obliterated instantly. Farther away, tsunamis or firestorms arrived hours or days later, giving faint illusions of temporary safety. But once the dust enshrouded the globe, the clock for almost all large land species ran out. Only those small enough and resourceful enough to hunker down in sheltered pockets could persist. Had dinosaurs possessed the intellect to plan, they might have tried to migrate or store resources, Yet such capabilities were not part of their evolutionary repertoire. Even the lush vegetation that once fed them fell to darkness. The planet's climate changed so radically that the robust cycads, conifers, and ferns of the era couldn't survive. Spores, seeds, and buds that could remain dormant ended up as among the limited means of floral recovery in the long term. When sunlight finally re-emerged, these seeds sprouted anew, paving the way for new forests but with a drastically altered composition. Over millions of years, these post-apocalyptic forests would incorporate newly emerging species, shaped by the planet's reconfigured environments and the absence of dinosaurs that once shaped those ecosystems. This cyclical pattern, mass extinction followed by adaptive radiation, has recurred multiple times in Earth's history, yet the end Cretaceous event stands out for the abruptness of the shift and the iconic status of the dinosaurs. Thus, even though the immediate viewpoint emphasizes destruction, the broader perspective underscores that this tragedy also laid the groundwork for the Cenozoic era, the age of mammals. Freed from competition with giant reptiles, mammals quickly evolved into a spectacular variety of forms, eventually leading to primates and, by a circuitous route, modern humans. Our presence on Earth is directly linked to that cataclysm. Without the impact's devastation, dinosaurs might have continued to rule indefinitely, limiting mammalian diversification. Today, the memory of that impact remains etched in geology and paleontology. We see it in the unusual concentration of iridium at the KPG boundary, in the crater structures revealed by modern scanning technology, and in the abrupt changes in the fossil record. The notion that an asteroid from deep space, invisible to Earth's inhabitants until the final days or hours, could rewrite the entire planet's life story is as humbling as it is staggering. It raises the specter that, even now, cosmic hazards lie out there among the asteroids and comets, traveling their silent orbits, potentially shaping the future in ways we can't fully predict. The difference is that we, as modern humans, have the means to detect and possibly divert smaller cosmic threats, a privilege never afforded to the dinosaurs. In the end, the question, what did the dinosaurs see before that final day, can be partially answered only through speculation. We can guess that some might have noticed an eerie brightness in the sky, or felt the planet tremble as shock waves and floods advanced. But the real tragedy, as far as the fossil record suggests, is that their entire world ended so swiftly they had virtually no time to adapt. When we retell the story of that day, it's often with a sense of awe at the unstoppable forces of nature. A 10-kilometer asteroid might appear like a grain of sand measured on a cosmic scale, yet it holds the power to eradicate billions of years of evolutionary progress in a geological instant. And ironically, it was this same event that paved the way for us, for birds, for every mammal, and for the ecosystems that exist today. When we step outside on a calm afternoon and watch birds soaring overhead, or see farmland nourished by thick soil, descended from millions of years of organic buildup, we can reflect on how intimately the world we know was shaped by that single cosmic bullet. Without that impetus, giant reptiles might still roam the Earth, and mammals might remain relegated to lesser roles in the shadows. Or Earth might have faced another cosmic threat down the line. The storyline, as it transpired, is simultaneously tragic for the dinosaurs and beneficial for subsequent forms of life, highlighting the dual nature of catastrophes and forging new chapters in Earth's ecological tapestry. Our concluding message is that as catastrophic as the asteroid collision was, it ultimately served as a reset that allowed new evolutionary paths to blossom. The event stands as a testament to nature's capacity for both unimaginable violence and unceasing renewal. And so, if we ever wonder how a single event can tip the scales of life's destiny, we need look no further than that day 66 million years ago. Whether we label it the dinosaur apocalypse or the dawn of a mammalian epoch, the outcome is the same. The planet was turned upside down, and life found a way to return and flourish. This duality of destruction and rebirth is perhaps the most compelling element of Earth's story, a reminder that great endings often herald equally great beginnings. Should you wish to uncover more about cosmic-scale events, ancient life, and the surprising resilience found in Earth's darkest hours, we invite you to follow along. Let the memory of the dinosaurs' final days ground us in humility, reminding us that existential threats to our planet can lie hidden in the silent corridors of space. And let us take heart in the fact that life, if given the slightest chance, can spark anew and carve out new wonders in the aftermath. That is the legacy of the killer asteroid, and the final visions dinosaurs might have witnessed: a flash of light, a thundering cataclysm, and a planet torn apart, only to witness new forms of life ascendant in the eons that followed.